All right, everybody, we're back here again today for some more looks at Oscar contenders, of course. And we are also in the midst right now of the Venice International Film Festival, and we've got Telluride starts later today. But really quick, I was going to just quickly talk about, because we have Marriage Story is on the docket for today, so I know the reviews are out for that from Venice, and also the reviews from Ad Astra. So we're actually going to start with the first look at Ad Astra here, those reviews. Let's see, let me get the most updated ones here for you. 82% right now on Rotten Tomatoes. I know there's still probably a screening or two happening today in Venice. If not, I think there's multiple screenings throughout the festival there, so that should be that number will fluctuate a little bit more until we get to the actual critic screenings, and that I would presume would start pretty soon here. Ad Astra, as far as I recall here, without doing all the 2 minutes to Google search and everything, as far as I know, Ad Astra is only going to play at Venice here. It will not be at TIFF. It wasn't on the list of Telluride, so yeah, it will be probably a week or two at the earliest before we get those critic screenings and more reviews coming in. But this one, when I talked about it in the September preview, I kind of said I'm having a hard time getting hyped up for this movie, even though it is Brad Pitt, Donald Sutherland, Tommy Lee Jones, pretty good cast there, James Gray, who's, a lot of his films have not always been like Best Picture nominees or anything, but usually they're in the discussion, like The Immigrant got a few acting nominations, like by, I think New York Film Critics Circle and stuff like that. Like, they're always around, but they're not always top of mind when it comes to the number of Oscar nominations they get. Most of them actually don't get any for James Gray, but Ad Astra, just based on the early reviews and the early reception here, might be the turnaround here. Basically, I've read a couple of reviews that say this is the finest performance in Brad Pitt's career, which is really surprising. Like I said, this kind of seemed like Interstellar just on a smaller budget, where it was just, instead of going out to save the universe, or was really to save the world, I guess, this is more just along the lines of Brad Pitt going out to save his father, or at least to, figure out, because I guess his father, played by Tommy Lee Jones, makes contact and all that. Not everybody was positive on it. The early reviews I read from last night really were, I think it was like 90%, and the average rating was like an 8.5 out of 10. Now it's dropped down to like a 7 point something out of 10. So yeah, there were a couple people that said, yeah, it's a little too been there, done that. But, and everybody talks about, like, actually the action scenes are actually really good in this. Like, it looked like in the trailer there was one part where they're riding around on dune buggies, or moon buggies in this case, I should say, and they're, like, shooting at each other and stuff. It's like, that might be fun stuff. But, no, they said there's moments of intimacy and emotion that really work with a lot of these people, the critics, I should say, that have seen it. There's a lot of stuff where they're talking about, there's maybe a couple moments of humor that work, and there's definitely, some great, space stuff in it and everything. So, I don't know. Critics were pretty mixed on Interstellar from my recollection. I think the Rotten Tomatoes score is somewhere in the 70 to low 80 percentage-wise, but it wasn't universally well received like a lot of other Christopher Nolan films. Of course, First Man last year did pretty well with the critics, but ended up kind of way underestimating at the Oscars versus what our early expectations were. So, I'm not sure where to put this at now. Like, I haven't magically not put this in for, like, picture, actor, director, or anything like that. But, I mean, that kind of, makes me a little bit more excited to see it now, because I was going to see it regardless and all that. But yeah, it does seem like maybe this is one to, we were kind of, I was a little, not on the fence about it, but I was very much like, it's lower in the pack there for like actor, director, picture, screenplay, stuff like that. But definitely I think like it is the same cinematographer as Interstellar, so I think the cinematography was a little higher up than normal. Visual effects, I think it's probably one of the 5 that gets in right now. But then again, I haven't really consolidated everything on that yet. But I would say those are fair bets right now. It's basically all tech stuff right now. I'm not sure about the big categories yet. Okay, so yeah, like I said, Marriage Story is coming out for U.S. Release and limited release in November, so we'll get to that one here today. Otherwise, that's what we're getting to today is all the November releases. So actually our first weekend here in November is going to be November 1st, and so we have actually quite a few on the docket there. The first one I'll mention here is Terminator Dark Fate. We actually got a new trailer for this just last night. And I am just not really getting pumped for this one. that first trailer had a couple of good moments, like when Linda Hamilton comes in with the grenade launcher or the bazooka, whatever it was, and just blows up like 6 Terminators. I'm like, oh, okay, that's awesome. But yeah, and then there's a line, she says Arnold's classic line in the new trailer, I'll be back and all that, and it's like, okay, it's a humorous moment, but and that, but it just, I don't know if it's what it is, but it's like the rest of her performance though, and her line delivery almost sounds like they got the first take and they're using it. And like there's one part where she says, never seen one like you before, almost human, and it's just a very odd delivery. I don't know if that's the way it's gonna be in the finished film, but just in the trailer it just sounded bogus. I'm sorry, but like so yeah, I'm not totally on board with these trailers yet. So as a result, I'm not high on anything this thing Oscar related outside of like a visual effects or the sound category, stuff like that. So yeah, personally I'm not way too hyped for that one. Okay, the next one up is Motherless Brooklyn. Did talk a little bit about this one because it is playing at Telluride yesterday. So yeah, it's Edward Norton writing, directing, and acting in this. Does he producer too? Yeah, he is a producer as well on this. And it looks like a pretty solid kind of film noir type of deal here. Like I said, it's at Telluride, and I believe it's going to be at TIFF as well. Yeah, it's going to be at TIFF too. And it's also going to close the New York Film Festival later on in, I think that's October when it closes. I think it starts, New York I think starts in late September this year and ends like a week into October or something, if I remember right. I don't have the exact dates in front of me here. But yeah, there's quite a cast in this one too. Norton himself, Bruce Willis, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, Bobby Cannavale, Alec Baldwin, Willem Dafoe, Michael K. Williams, Hawke. I was going to say Ethan Hawke. He's not in this. Leslie Mann, and wasn't there another? No, okay, that's it. But yeah, he's I think it's based on a novel of the same name and stuff. And the trailer was decent, not great, but not bad. Definitely, it's a good-looking film. Looks like they're definitely hitting that, that 50s setting really well. So production design, costume design, of course, you have to keep in mind. Dick Pope, not to be confused with Dick Poop, who was nominated a few years ago for Mr. Turner, is the cinematographer. He's got this one and one more. Which one? I thought he had another film out. Oh, I was thinking of Peterloo. That's right, with another Mike Leigh film. But yeah, that really tanked earlier this year. So. Yeah, so I thought he had another one out there, but I guess he's just got the one here. Yeah, the cinematography does look pretty good, so I would say that's probably not out of the realm of possibility here. I think Ed Norton, like I said, Birdman, he was awesome in, so, if he's really good in this too, then maybe he can break in for Best Actor. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it does at Telluride here over the weekend to see if it's going to be a big contender for picture, director. Hell, we'll see if he can even get somebody like a Bruce Willis his first nomination, because I know he's been around forever, and I've seen some of his work. It's like you see that in him, even if his personality and his kind of real self is a little dick-headed sometimes. Just from what I hear secondhand, of course. But like even look at like the first Die Hard. It's like, man, if that had been a really, and I know it was a strong year that for Best Actor, but it's like if that had been a really weaker field. Hell, I mean, it's not out of the realm possibility he would have been nominated for that. But yeah, I know that's just my wishful thinking too. But yeah. Okay, also coming out here on November 1st is Harriet, of course, Harriet Tubman, biopic here from Cassie Lemons, who's again most known. We talked about this a while ago because this is playing at TIFF. So when I did the TIFF video, we talked about this one a little bit. But it's she's most known for her roles in like Candyman, Silence of the Lambs, and stuff. And then since then, she's gone on to do a lot of stuff behind the camera, and this is kind of her. I think this is going to be the one that people realize, oh, she's not just that actress from the 90s that we all forgot about. Now she's like a director. She's, and she also is a co-wrote the screenplay on this as well. But yeah, right from the first trailer, I was like, okay, Cynthia Erivo is getting nominated for this, and I do have her in for Best Actress. Not to win right now, but I have her in second place underneath somebody else we'll get to later. Maybe not in this video, but later on. Yeah, she looks fantastic. I even said last year, because I thought she stole the show in Bad Times at El Royale. She was fantastic in that. Obviously, the singing part's really great, and when it was just her as an actress, she did good. I mean, I think there's room for improvement there, but, it looked like that was her first role, too, so you can't really expect, perfection out of your first performance. That doesn't happen every day. But I also enjoyed her in Widows last year. So this one, yeah, it looks like she's great in this. This cinematography looked gorgeous from, did we say 2 or 3-time winner John Toll? I know he's won at least twice, but did he win another time? Let's see. Legends of the Fallen Braveheart, I remember that. But didn't he pick up another? No, it was just the 2. Okay. Yeah, so he's been around for a while here. And yeah, the cinematography did look gorgeous there. Obviously, production design, costume design are ones to keep in mind here. Makeup and hairstyling is another one, possibly. A couple people are kind of high on Janelle Monáe in the supporting role, but yeah, just from the trailer, I don't really have a good sense of just how big a role she has. But yeah, I don't know quite if it's going to break into like director for Cassie, but I do have it in for one of the 10 slots for Best Picture right now. So I think it'll be strong there. As far as I know, this is going to be in the original category. I don't think they have a specific biographic book on Harriet Tubman. I know there's probably hundreds of them out there, but as far as I know, there's not one source they took from. So so that for original screenplay, I can definitely see happening. Who else? I should say, what else? Maybe like it looks like there's going to be a little bit more action to this too from the trailer. So maybe like the sound categories too. So so I think that one is looks pretty solid for anywhere from like definitely 2 nominations for actress picture right now for me, but that could go as high as like 5 or 6, I think. Okay, also coming out November 1st is probably one of the most anticipated films of the year that will be in the Oscar discussion, of course. That's Martin Scorsese's The Irishman. The first trailer I thought was very, very good, but maybe not as great as everybody else had pegged it up to be. De Niro, the digital de-aging on him, I thought was good, but it's I don't know. The way everybody made it sounded like this was going to be just a gigantic like 70s era De Niro. Like he was going to look like he did in Mean Streets, but he looks more like he did in I don't know, like maybe like a year or two before Goodfellas or something. Like early to mid 90s De Niro there, just from the look of it. But yeah, you got a hell of a cast in this one: De Niro, Pacino, Joe Pesci, Harvey Keitel, Bobby Cannavale, Anna Paquin. Let's see, Ray Romano's in this. A whole bunch of Jesse Plemons and amongst a few others there. You've got I think it's the usual crowd for Scorsese too. You've got he's producing on it as well. Steve Zalian, who's won of course for Schindler's List, and I think he's been nominated a few more times since. Wrote the script. Rodrigo Prieto is the cinematographer here. He was the sole nomination for Silence a few years ago. Of course, you got Thelma Shoemaker for editing there. So, as far as I know, this one could go anywhere from up to like 10 or 11 nominations, and usually Scorsese gets like in that 5 to 10, like under 10 range. But with the exception of like Hugo, I think did Gangs of New York get to 10? Maybe. I know The Aviator got into double digits there, but I can't remember if Gangs of New York did. I don't think it quite did, but it might have. I don't want to. It's going to take 10 minutes to figure that out. But, so this is coming out in limited release on November 1st. It's going to be the opening film for New York Film Festival. September 27th, I see here is the date. So, I think that's that sounded about right, what I said earlier on that. From what we know now, it's 3.5 hours long, which sign me up. That sounds awesome. I love it when Scorsese, takes time to tell stories like Wolf of Wall Street. I love the fact that that's 3 hours, and even it was on the other night, so I was telling my folks, I said, the first time I saw this, it just flew by, and I said, where'd my 3 hours go? Because there was just so much happening. I think The Irishman, will be in that same class here. I think I talked about this last time, but reportedly the budget was around $200 million, but I'm seeing some more estimates are closer to like $150, so maybe it wasn't quite as expensive as it was originally set out to be, but that's neither here nor there for its Oscar chances or anything. But so I think for now, definitely I have it in for picture, director. I have it in for actor. I have it in for I have Pesci getting in for supporting actor, but Pacino I think has a shot too. He's going to play Jimmy Hoffa, so sometimes playing the more famous role, I think maybe sometimes will push you over the edge, but. Let's see. I think it definitely gets in for screenplay. I have it winning screenplay right now. Actually, I think I have De Niro out front for Best Actor right now too. But yeah, that's kind of a placeholder for now. Same with the script. Yeah, so that's okay. Let me count them up again. 2 acting, director, picture, screenplay. I think cinematography is probably a good bet. Editing, costume design, production design, visual effects, sound category, maybe 1 or 2 gets it to 12. Yeah, this could be easily the most nominated film on Oscar morning. Yeah, and I think our expectations should be pretty high for this one, just on a general basis. But then again, we can't, when we do see the film and all that, just remember to keep an open mind and all that. Yeah, I kind of mentioned this yesterday with Marriage Story, how it's like Marriage Story is actually going to have a longer, limited theatrical run than The Irishman even is. So I said maybe Marriage Story is actually the stronger player this year. I wouldn't be surprised because the 2 trailers they had for Marriage Story were excellent, even if they were very repetitive. But it was just seeing that play out just between the two, I thought was a really great move there. Okay, let's see. I think that's it for November 1st. Yeah, I think I hit everything here. So the next one up, will actually be Marriage Story. So yeah, this is another one, large cast with Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson, Alan Alda, Laura Dern. Let's see, I'm actually going to type it in here so I can find the full list here. Who else? Ray Liotta's in it too, that's right. Merritt Weaver and Julie Haggerty from Airplane, love her. Yeah, it seems like this is another one. Like I said, it premiered at Venice there. I think it was last night, it'd be last night my time, but it was in mid-afternoon over in Venice or something, or early morning screening or something. But yep, let me get the latest here so we can get the most accurate here. Okay, yep, and that one is 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Right now, the average rating is 9.2 out of 10, so that's about as good as you can get. And yeah, basically everybody's saying the same thing. It's it's a very emotional film, driven by fantastic performances from Johansson and Driver, who I think both easily get in this year, right now at least from everything how it looks here. Yeah, basically saying this might be one of Baumbach's best, Noah Baumbach I should say, probably his best script, some of his best characters. Yeah, basically everybody's just over the moon for this one so far, just at Venice. It's also going to play at Telluride and TIFF coming up, so yeah, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for people to see this one. I think I saw it also at it's going to be at New York as well, and the BFI London Film Fest. So it's got quite a bit of everybody wants to see this one right now. And yeah, I think this has a good shot of getting, this could be, like I said, I think this will easily be Baumbach's strongest effort so far at the Oscars, because right now it's, he got the one nomination for for Squid and the Whale, but since then he's just come up empty every year with all of his projects and stuff. But this one I can see him getting into director, I can see getting for picture, screenplay, actor and actress, Laura Dern for supporting actress right now. Alan Alda, I think, has a shot for supporting actor. Just, again, from word-of-mouth stuff. It's got Randy Newman doing music. He's not always nominated, but I don't know. I can see him getting in for this. I can see it getting... I'm trying to think what else it can get into here. Because it looks like a more contemporary thing. So, like costume design, production design, all that stuff. I don't quite think so, but yeah, I think it'll do fairly well here over the Oscars. There again, I don't see it being the most nominated film, but I can see Netflix, getting like the most nominated film in The Irishman, and maybe one of the second or third most nominated films with Marriage Story. I think that can really, that's a possibility, I think, this year. Okay, so moving on here, the rest of November, we've got, let's see what's up next here. Let's see, I didn't put Dr. Sleep in. That's one I can throw in. That comes out on November 8th. So yeah, we'll move on to that weekend here. So this one, you got Ewan McGregor, Rebecca Ferguson, Bruce Greenwood is in this. It's from Mike Flanagan, who did, oh shoot, I need to look it up again. What did he do? Let's see. Gerald's Game. I didn't see that one. I've heard good things about that one. He's done a few horror films and stuff, but Oculus, okay, that's one I'd heard about that got pretty good reviews from what I remember. But of course, this is kind of the sequel to The Shining. The original Shining, of course, got no Oscar love, but it did get some Razzie love. Surprisingly enough, yeah, I know some people flip their shit when they hear about that, but yeah, I think this one. I don't know, like, where, again, this is kind of another wild card in the Oscar race, because it's like, it's not hitting any of the festivals, but at the same time, I can see it maybe getting some love in some tech categories and stuff for, for maybe, like, I don't know, music score, cinematography, stuff like that, maybe. Sometimes some horror movies get in there. Yeah, I can see this one kind of, at least being in the playing field and getting some love for some of its actors, maybe. Stuff like that. Maybe the script gets a little bit of love, but you never know. So, yeah, this one I did want to throw in just on the off chance, because, the original one is such a beloved classic, So sometimes when the second one comes out, like Blade Runner 2049, that got a number of nominations as well. So, yeah. Okay, what else have I got here on November 8th? We got Midway. I don't think that's going to be in there. There is Arctic Dogs, I think is what it's called. It's just another animated film. I haven't seen the preview or anything for it yet, but it looks like it's a really star-studded, voice cast and everything. But yeah, that's animated feature. Yeah, pretty much. See here, Honey Boy is another one that's coming out on November 8th, and this was a Sundance favorite. You got Lucas Hedges playing basically the child version of, or teenager version, I should say, of Shia LaBeouf. Noah Jupe plays the young, child version of him. Shia LaBeouf plays his own father. Micah Monroe is in this, amongst a few other people there. But yeah, again, this is one that's really, it did very well at Sundance. I think it's, from what I'm seeing here, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and everything. And yeah, it's weird because this one is, I would see this fitting into something like obviously Sundance, it would make sense. But like I could have seen this at Telluride or maybe TIFF, but it skipped those, and now it's just, it's Amazon's behind it, and it's just going to come out on the 8th. So yeah, this one we'll see, because Shia LaBeouf didn't direct this. He wrote it, and he co-stars in it. But it's Alma Harrell, I think is the name of the director, how you pronounce that, but... yeah, this is another one. It's kind of a wild card, because we can maybe, like, Lucas Hedges did get a couple nods last year for his work in Boy Erased, and in what was the other one? Ben is Back, I think. Yeah, he got a couple nods here and there for both of them. So I can see that happening again. I think he's a pretty popular, younger actor. Yeah, again, this is just such a wild card. I can see it being, like, totally ignored, or I can see it surprising the hell out of people and getting, like, Shia nominated and getting lead actor for either Lucas Hedges or for Noah Jupe. Maybe he'd be supporting. I don't know, but yeah. So that's just a wild card right now for that one. Okay, have I hit everything else here? Okay, yeah, that's it for November 8th. November 15th, first one up. This is going to be at Telluride, and it's going to premiere there, and that is Ford v. Ferrari. The first trailer came out a few months ago. Looks very, very action-packed and looks like a very fun movie. Of course, this is kind of the story of, the Ford Motor Company kind of taking on for Enzo Ferrari's, company and everything there for the, there was a specific race. I remember they mentioned that in the trailer, that they were kind of, to see who could come out with the best, model and all that. So yeah, it's Matt Damon and Christian Bale starring here. As far as I know, they're both going lead. I know Christian Bale is right now considered lead from everything I've seen, but I don't know if they'd rather put Matt Damon in supporting, or if they'll just take them both lead. I'm not sure. Let's see, Katrina Balfe is in this, John Bernthal, Tracy Letts, Noah Jupe again. So yeah, again, a good number of familiar faces in the cast and everything. And it is from James Mangold. We kind of mentioned that yesterday as well. So yeah, usually his films get, if not a couple of nominations, they get something at the Oscars. So this one, I would say, definitely look for the sound categories here. Maybe, editing would probably be a good bet right now. I don't know about visual effects. I don't know how effects heavy the film is going to be, but it could be in for effects the same way like First Man was last year. Even though its effects weren't always top of mind, it was always like there's enough of a setting there that it makes sense. What else here? Yeah, we'll see if somebody like a Christian Bale can break in again for Best Actor this year, or supporting wherever he ends up. I don't know if there was anybody else that really stood out in the trailer for acting races, but yeah. Okay, yeah, I think that's So this one again, I can see maybe breaking into Best Picture as well. So we'll have to just wait and see there. Okay, another one that's coming out on the 15th. I'm less high on this one. That's The Good Liar. Again, we had the trailer come out not long ago. I don't know. It just looks very been there, done that. I could be wrong, but this is another one that is skipping all the festivals and just going to premiere on the 15th there. It is Bill Condon. Usually his films get some good Oscar love. You can go through Dreamgirls, Chicago, Gods and Monsters, and everything. And it is starring, Helen Mirren and Ian McKellen, two, very classical actors there and everything. They're kind of the two big stars in this. I don't see too many supporting actors or actresses in there whose names I recognize. But, I guess you never know. This could easily... I don't know how it's going to run at the Globes, but I can see it going either way for comedy, musical, or drama. I can see especially if it goes comedy. They almost always nominate Helen Mirren, even for the one like the 100-foot. Didn't they nominate for 100-foot Journey a couple years ago, and then the one last year or 2 years ago where she was in the RV the whole movie or something? Actually, let me look that up here really quick because how many Globe nominations does she have? She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 Globe nominations, that's right. 100-foot Journey a few years ago. Got in for Trumbo, that's right. And then Leisure Seeker, that's what it was called. That was 2 years ago, was Leisure Seeker. So, especially if this does end up in the comedy musical category, I will pretty much just on a, that's the thing, though. Like, I did this a couple years ago with Thomas Newman getting in for the Victor and Victoria movie, where it's like everybody else always forgets that stuff, and it's like Thomas Newman almost always gets in when he's in a Oscar fair film, So I'm like, right when I jump on that train is when it, runs off the rails and crashes somewhere. So, maybe now that I say that now, this is not going to get anywhere. But, Ian McKellen, I would say the same boat there for, especially if this ends up in the comedy races at the Globes, it can get some attention there. And if it starts there, then maybe it can build. But again, no promises on that one. Okay, what else have we got here? Also coming out on the 15th. This is the one I was talking about yesterday. It is right now my early bet for Best Picture winner, and that's The Report from Scott C. Burns, who is usually the writer for Steven Soderbergh. He also wrote the script for The Laundromat this year, so he's going to be a double threat. He's also producer and writer on the film on this one. Here's the full cast. So we have Adam Driver, Annette Bening, John Hamm, Tim Blake Nelson, Matthew Rhys, Ted Levine, Michael C. Hall, Maura Tierney, Corey Stoll, so it's a pretty wide cast there. Definitely, I said, definitely made comparisons in the trailer to just in look and everything to Spotlight, which of course came back and won a few years ago. So this was another one premiered at Sundance and really wowed there. I think it's like a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes according to this here. I think. It's going to come out in limited on the 15th, and then it's going to be on Amazon Prime 2 weeks later. And this is one, I thought I saw it coming to, was it TIFF or? I thought it was at TIFF, but it's going to be at Telluride. We said that yesterday, so it's still hitting a couple of the circuits here in the fall for festivals and stuff. But this one I think I do have it in for picture. I have, even though it's it looks unlikely right now, I have Scott Z. Burns getting in for director. His nomination I think feels like a Kenneth Lonergan getting in for like Manchester by the Sea. It's like normally they wouldn't go for such a name like that, but if they love the film enough, they'll go for it. So I think he can get in for director, screenplay definitely. I do have Driver getting in for lead actor for Marriage Story, so I don't have him getting in twice for this, but I do have Annette Bening in for supporting actress. I can definitely get this, see this getting in for editing, and maybe for another tech category. I thought about it the other day, and then I was like, I don't know. Definitely that one for sure. So it can be that 5 or 6 nominee film. Spotlight got 6, so I can see this one, especially if it can get another, like if John Hamm gets in for supporting actor or something. Then I can definitely see this at the basically being in the same categories as Spotlight was a few years ago. Okay, what else have we got here? I think that was it for the 15th. Yep, yeah, that's it for the 15th. Okay, so then right before Thanksgiving, we have on November 22nd, probably one of the better bets for animated feature, of course, that's Frozen 2. I have to say, I mentioned this when the first trailer came out. I said that's the first, like the best, like teaser for an animated film I've seen in a long time. It did look fantastic. And the second trailer, did I see the second one? Have they had a second trailer? I forget. I know they had D23 just a few days ago. They talked about like they came out and Idina Menzel sang a new song for it and stuff. So of course, it's probably going to get in for song then. Animated feature, yeah. Those two are almost guarantees there right now at least. But and it's tough a lot of times for these animated films to break into other categories outside of those. I don't see it getting in for adapted screenplay. I don't see it getting in for picture or anything like that. But even those two, that's still a strong showing. We'll see if Toy Story 4 still holds up in that category as the evident winner after we see Frozen 2, because the first one did win a few years ago. Okay, then we get to another one of the more anticipated films for the Oscar race this year. That's A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, of course, the Fred Rogers biopic. This is Marielle Heller directing. Of course, last year did Can You Ever Forgive Me, which was a really good movie. Maybe not as great as I didn't like it quite as much as everybody else did, but still really strong acting performances from the film and everything, and a good script. But this time it's obviously Tom Hanks, Fred Rogers. Yeah, this what I'm hearing is they're running him in supporting. They could change that and double back on it now. They want to run Matthew Rhys in lead because I guess he's actually going to be more of the focal point here, and I guess Hanks's role, even though he was front and center in the trailer, actually maybe he's a lot more of a supporting character than we think. So right now, if he isn't supporting, I think he'll get nominated. It's just such a can't resist role like this. I mean, unless the film totally tanks and it gets no Oscar love at all, which actually that first trailer, I talked about it a few videos ago, but I wasn't blown away by the first trailer. It did look a little too cutesy for my tastes. Tom Hanks in it, Matthew Rhys, Chris Cooper's also in it. Let's see, Sakina Jeffrey, and I thought there was another. That's my problem today. I keep saying and, but there's nobody else of the names that I immediately pick up on. But this does. Yeah, I think otherwise though, I do have it right now in for director, picture, supporting actor, screenplay. Again, I believe this is on. I think it was in. I don't know. I don't know where they're going to put this. Probably adapted, I guess, because it right here I'm seeing it is based on a story, like I don't know if it's the original Esquire article that this was based on, or it was Tom. Yeah, because the character name of the Matthew Rhys character is not the same, like, literal person. It's not the same name as the person that he's portraying. I guess that person is Tom Junod, who, Esquire, so... I guess, so I'm seeing one thing says it's actually based, like it's going to be credited as based on the piece that he wrote that, is kind of the main driving force of the film. But then again, I thought I saw it was competing in original, so I don't know. Yeah, well, I would guess usually when something like that happens, like we saw that with Moonlight a couple years ago, they switched that over to adapted. They did that with Whiplash and stuff. Whenever there's a question, it usually ends up in adapted just so they can, kind of cover their asses. So I think, this will definitely, land in that adapted category. Then it probably has a fair shot of getting in there. We'll see about, like, the production design, costume design. I'm not, like, 100% on board for those yet. I think there's going to be more flashy costumes in some other films this year, for example. We'll see about, like, something like this. I can see, like, if there's a really sweet, like, it's not Thomas Newman, but, like, because Nate Heller is the music here. So I'm guessing that's Marielle Heller's relation in some way. Usually, if it was like a Thomas Newman score or something like that, would pretty much automatically get in. But we'll see if like a music score gets in, if it's sweet enough and pulls on the heartstrings of the voters enough and stuff. I think that's where I've gotten. So I can see it doing just top categories or some top categories and some technical categories too. Okay, let's see, what else have we got here? Let's see, The Two Popes is coming out on on the 27th. Okay, we'll get to that one in a second there. But 21 Bridges was another one I wanted to just talk about. Again, just kind of cover bases here. It's from the produced by the Russo brothers, who of course just did Infinity War and Endgame, and it stars one of their stars, Chadwick Boseman, in the lead here. It looks like actually a pretty good cast here. It's him, J.K. Simmons, Sienna Miller, Taylor Kitsch, Keith David, and Stephan James. So that's a pretty good lineup there. This is another one. Kind of looks like a thriller, kind of more like I talked yesterday about the Black and Blue movie. I was going to originally put that on, but I looked at it again. I'm like, I don't. It looks more like Taken or something. So this one I think could end up that way, but just from the trailer, looks a little bit more like the story's going to be a little more front and center this time. And it was kind of an interesting story. It's like this the guy who is played by Chadwick Boseman. I guess his father was a detective years ago, but his he was killed on duty, and now it's like his killer's coming back and wants his son to like track him down, or it seemed like a story similar to that. So so sometimes stuff like that. It's like maybe I don't know if Boseman can break in for actor or anything like that, but I don't know. Maybe this gets into a sound category or something too. So so that one I just want to put on there just in case. Okay, so now we've got all those out of the way, so we have 3 left here. The first one is The Two Popes, and we talked about this one as well yesterday because it's at Telluride, but it's Anthony Hopkins, Jonathan Pryce. Let's see here. Who's directing this one? I forget. The City of God guy, that's right, Fernando Mireles. And Anthony McCartan, we mentioned yesterday, is doing the script here too. Again, the trailer was fine. It was some humorous moments in there, but it doesn't look like it's going to immediately jump to the top of my list for if it's going to get in or not. And I guess this would be in the original screyplay category. I don't see another one where this is based on a book or a newspaper article or anything. I guess basically it's not like limited to the 2 actors, but I guess they're going to be really front and center for this. So I can see this definitely, again, benefiting from being in a comedy or musical category at the Globes, and if it can get either Price, Hopkins, or both of them in, I think that will help the film's cause there. Outside of those 2, and again, well, McCartan's gotten in just once for script, but like The Darkest Hour script I liked it better than the Theory of Everything script, but the Theory of Everything script got nominated, and even his script for Bohemian Rhapsody had a few good zingers, but again, that probably shouldn't have got nominated last year. It didn't. So, I guess you never know with that. But a couple possibilities there for that one. Okay, then we have Knives Out from the bane of the internet, Rian Johnson, of course, the Last Jedi guy. Again, hell of a cast in this one. Daniel Craig, Chris Evans, Ana de Armas, Jamie Lee Curtis, Toni Collette, Don Johnson, Michael Shannon, Lakeith Stanfield, Catherine Langford, Jaden, it's Martell, but he was previously known as Jaden Lieberman from It. Christopher Plummer and Frank Oz is in this, and Emmett Walsh. So quite a cast in this one. And this one is going to be at TIFF. That makes sense. I was thinking about like maybe Telluride too, but TIFF makes sense. So I guess it's kind of akin to an Agatha Christie kind of thing, Murder on the Orient Express, stuff like that. Gosford Park, I've seen those. Some people talk about as another inspiration for this. And the trailer was fun, and definitely I would see again this one benefiting from being in that comedy musical category at the Globes, and from there I think it can maybe get a little more love. But right now I think being such a fun film to come out around, I think it's around the Thanksgiving period there. I don't see that immediately being a threat for picture, director, or actor, or anything like that. But it might be a fun one that maybe gets a little bit of love along the way. Okay, last one here for November is Queen and Slim. This basically looks like basically a remake of Bonnie and Clyde, but just told from the African American perspective. The first trailer I enjoyed. Not top of the line like best trailers of the year or anything, but definitely got me into the story and perspective and what they're telling here. And it's going to be at AFI Fest. Surprised I'm not seeing it on the list at Telluride. I would imagine would have liked this. TIFF definitely would have gone for this. I would have thought, but it skipped. I don't know if it's not ready yet or what. But as far as I know, it had like a rating from the MPAA, which means it's pretty much done. It's Yeah, it's got Daniel Kaluuya and Jodie Turner-Smith as the two stars. So Jodie Turner-Smith, I believe this is her first film, or is it? No, she's been in a couple of films, but just very much smaller roles. So I guess she was in like True Blood and some stuff like that too. I guess, but anyways, this is kind of her big breakout role. They look like they're fun together. They look like it's going to be like some kind of comedy moments, but also some drama moments in there too. Obviously, a lot of racial tension elements there with the fact that they kind of in self-defense have to kill a police officer white officer who pulls them over. We saw last year, those kind of films really hit at the Oscars. And personally, my favorite film of last year was all about that in The Hate You Give. So I think if subject matters like that still hold strong, like they did last year, this one can carry through. Right now, I don't have it getting in for anything quite yet. I think I want to see either another trailer or some first reactions first, but I can see this breaking in, big time for like Best Actress if that field is a little weaker than we're expecting, and they want to, if a newcomer like that really surprises them, like newcomer Lady Gaga last year, I can see that totally happening. Kaluuya, I liked him a lot last year in Widows, even if his part was really small. And he was nominated for Get Out, which again was probably, and I don't pit this against him personally, but it's like I one of the most head scratching nominations I've seen in the acting categories in years. Because as he did fine in the film, but I don't see any such way where that was like a lead actor perform, and he got nominated everywhere 2 years ago. So, anyways, but that being said, I don't. Again, nothing against him personally, and I really did like him a lot in Widows and Get Out. He was good, but. I don't know where else this can get nominated though. I can see again. Picture is a possibility. The director is a newcomer, Melina Matsoukas, I think is how you pronounce it. But she's done like some MTV, I guess, some music videos and stuff. She's actually been nominated by the DGA before. So so I guess she's got definitely some fans out there. I think that sometimes the people that come up from TV and some music videos into directing, obviously like David Fincher is probably one of the first people we think about with that. If they have a lot of friends in the DGA and stuff, that can really help them. I can see her being a surprise DGA nominee this year, either for Best First Film or maybe even for Outstanding Director, maybe. I believe this is her first theatrical film. Let me just double check that. This is her first theatrical film. So I would say definitely she's a good bet for that first time director category for sure. And Lena Waithe, she's an actress. She's in Ready Player One. Let's see, what else have I seen her in? I thought I saw her in another thing. She is a screenwriter on this and a producer on the film. She might get in for screenplay for this. It looks like an original screenplay. We'll see how that screenplay category works out. But I can see this getting some top category love. Again, I don't see outside of like if it gets in for like editing or something like that. I don't see it being a big player in the tech categories, but I can see it maybe breaking into those big categories. Again, I'm not pulling the trigger on that right now just because I want to see a little bit more about it first. Okay, all right, that's all I got for November there. Always, like I say, November is always one of the biggest months, and December will be pretty big too. So, we'll come back and we'll talk about December another time. So, thanks for checking me out here and doing the November films, and we'll get right back to it.